If you're a baller on a budget and enjoy drinking cheap wine, you better drink it all up right now, because cheap wine may not be that cheap for long. It's almost summertime. That means the kids will be out of school and it's time to travel. But maybe you're concerned about the cost of vacation. Luckily for you, Wallet Hub has compiled a list of the best summer travel destinations that'll give you more bang for your buck. It's been about 5 months since the iPhone 10 came out and people are still getting used to all of its cool features. Turns out one of those features has a major flaw. It's finally starting to feel like spring, and I'm not just talking about the temperature. Just to give you guys a quick recap of what's happening here, we're outside of the ICE building in Philadelphia. This is where protesters have lined up. They've been here since 4:30 yesterday. This is day 2 of their Occupy event, asking for the end of mass deportation by ICE. A lot of terms have been used, fake news, everything like that. Do you still agree that, a lot of news is somewhat biased or fake, or?
I think there's a bunch of categories. There are a bunch of journalists that I acknowledge in the book that I think do a really good job, that I don't always agree with their stories, but I think that they're top-notch professionals.
It's MLB All-Star Weekend, and we're getting a sneak preview of what people can expect here at FanFest. These guys, what's going on, Screech? What's up, Screech? Yep, we're wearing hard hats. We are wearing hard hats because, as you can see, things are still under construction.
I like to start with my palms together and just really get a sense of the center of your body.
A very, very explosive and tragic act of violence took place between myself. It was 3 of us, and one of us, we were all children. One of us was killed, actually.
That's how Kempis Songster, who also goes by Ghani, ended up in prison when he was 15 with a first-degree murder conviction and a life sentence without parole. And for 30 years, Kempis sat in prison.
Years of, just in the privacy of my own cell, sitting at the edge of the bunk, kind of like I'm sitting on this bench right now, thinking to myself, how could I have done something like this? How did I allow myself to get in this situation?
Ghani said he spent years trying to transform himself into the person he wanted to be, and yoga played a major role.
Wow, I actually started doing yoga in 2002 on the inside in prison. And there used to be this show that came on the Oxygen Channel early in the morning, about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, I think it's called Inhale, and that's how I got into yoga.
He didn't commit to the practice until he met with the Transformation Yoga Project. It's an organization that works with people who have been impacted by trauma in the greater Philadelphia area.
We really believe it's a nice way to connect your mind and the body, so that when we say, hey, I don't feel right, we really mean I don't feel right. Something's not right. I should listen to that. We like to think ourselves as a complementary type of therapy.
Since entering Kempis's life, the TYP has had a major impact on his reformation, and he had a similar impact on them.
Kempis was always providing insight that took our conversations well beyond any sort of yoga teacher training group I've been in the public.
And one of the things that appealed to me about yoga was that this is your own practice. This is about you not being perfect, but being whole.
Kempis isn't giving yoga all the credit for his transformation.
I started programs, like self-enhancement and awareness groups, but yoga was a piece that I was missing.
Thanks to a series of Supreme Court rulings, he was able to get out of prison. In 2010, judges banned the use of life without parole for juveniles not convicted of homicide in the Graham versus Florida case. In 2012, the Supreme Court ruled that juveniles sentenced to life in prison without parole violates the 8th Amendment. And finally, in 2016, during the Montgomery versus Louisiana case, the court ruled that children are constitutionally different from adults in the level of culpability. Now that he's out of prison, Kempis is still working with the TYP, including this community spotlight event at Eastern State Penitentiary, one of the oldest penitentiaries in the world. Kempis hopes yoga can transform others who are behind bars the same way it transformed him.
you know, and I'm looking directly in these cells, and I could actually see myself in one of these cells at one point. But now I'm on the outside, you know, and this prison is condemned. And so there's all kind of images and all kind of thoughts that's going through my head that maybe there is a chance that all of the prisons in this country can look like this one day. Maybe there's a chance that we can have a society where prisons are no longer needed.
Charlottesville has always had race issues. August the 12th didn't shape the race issues. August the 12th just brought it to light.
The people of Charlottesville, Virginia are still living through the aftershock of last summer's Unite the Right rally.
You have a bunch of people coming into the town that you call home saying, this is our town, and it was just a really bad day.
Trying to hit us in the head, actually hit a couple of us on more than one occasion.
Some of the counter-protesting was necessary, but a little bit overzealous.
As the anniversary approaches, there are fears that history will repeat itself.
I would urge the citizens of Charlottesville and anybody else who is going to be visiting here is to continue to be vigilant. You can help deter some of these acts that might take place.
Some residents say the race-based hate the world got to see did not just start a year ago. This man wanted to comment but did not want to be on camera. How racist would you think Charlottesville as a city is?
It's hard to tell. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I would say, I grew up here all my life. I would say probably a 7 or 8.
That was on a scale from 1 to 10. Heather Heyer lost her life that day when a man drove a car through a crowd of people. Her memorial still stands at the intersection named after her, as a reminder of what the city has been through.
As a privileged white woman, I think it was a aha, like water splashed in your face, wake up moment.
But since that moment, how have things changed?
I would say that there's a racial uncomfortableness.
With a similar rally possibly headed their way again, some residents are still planning to hit the streets.
Am I worried if they come here? No. Am I going to stop protesting because it's 30 of them walking down the street? No. What the city going to do is the question. Are they going to work this year? Are they going to do their job?
For Circa in Charlottesville, I'm Omar Mohammed. If you're not careful, your 4th of July can look like this or this. The dangers of the nation's birthday aren't lost on Mike Spencer. A night of dealing with fireworks changed his life forever.
I held a mortar shell style firework above my head and lit the fuse, and the fireworks detonated in my hands. And I looked at my hands, and at that point my girlfriend yelled, "His hands have melted away," and I could see the blood splurting up out of my hands. The injuries I received: I lost my pinky, I lost my ring finger, I lost the tip of my middle finger, and I lost my thumb off of my left hand. I also lost the tip of my middle finger on my right hand. I lost my index finger, and I severely damaged my thumb. We took a toe from my left foot and transplanted it to give me a thumb again.
Since his accident in 2015, Mike has been warning people about the dangers of fireworks and has the backing of the CPSC.
During this time period, around the 4th of July, on average, 280 people are treated in hospital emergency rooms every day. So it's very significant. 2017, we saw 8 deaths.
I used to launch fireworks since I was a small boy until I was an adult. This happened when I was 48 years old. So you would think that I would have old age and maturity on my side, but apparently I didn't. My luck ran out.
If you're going to use them, and you certainly can if it's legal in your hometown, just to exert extreme caution when you're using them.